Yes, good morning. Finally, both of us have a day off together. So this podcast is slightly overdue, but I want to keep it a little bit short. I think you want to keep it a little bit long for obvious reasons. India beaten by Australia in the 2023 World Cup final.
Yep. So just to give you a summary of the entire match, India were batting first. Australia won the toss and chose to bowl first. I remember a lot of criticism directly coming Pat Cummins' way because they thought, "Oh, you shouldn't be even bowling first. You should be batting first. Traditionally, bat first." But I remember thinking in Ahmedabad, the pitch might be actually quite slow because it was in the Border Gavaskar Series Trophy. The fourth Test match they played in Ahmedabad, that pitch was quite slow. So I'm thinking if it's a slow pitch,
Yeah.
and then the commentators were also talking about how if it's slow now and then the dew comes in the night, it'll quicken up the pitch. So it's actually a smart decision, and it proved to be a very smart decision by Pat Cummins. So India got off to a pretty good start. They scored 80 of their first 10 overs.
Yes.
Rohit Sharma got going,
That
made a
was
very
that was the
strong
only
47.
highlight of it for India. So that was it.
And then Gill got out. He was caught, I think,
Yep.
by Cummins. And then a big moment in the match is when Glenn Maxwell bowled to Rohit Sharma. And Sharma was going for a big shot, sort of straight drive over the top. And he skewed it. And then Travis Head running backwards took just a magnificent catch. Magnificent
Right.
backwards catch. Threw the arms out, took the catch.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, India then, I believe they lost, I think it was Shreyas. They lost another wicket pretty quickly as well.
Yes, they did. Shreyas Iyer.
Yeah, batting at number 4, is that Shreyas Iyer? Yeah. And then KL Rahul and Kohli put on a partnership. So some people said they were batting a little bit slowly, but to be fair to them, India had lost 3 wickets for not too much, so they had to build some sort of a partnership. And the pitch was slow.
Yes, I'm aware of all that.
The pitch, it was not an easy wicket to bat on. It was difficult. It was
Beautiful, yeah.
tricky. It was slow. And so Kohli was scoring at about 90. Rahul was scoring at about 60. And then another big moment in the game is when Pat Cummins bowled to Kohli, and Kohli chopped the ball onto his stumps as he was trying to run a ball down to third man. He ended up just gliding it onto his stumps. He got 54 of 63, and I believe it was, and obviously that was a devastating moment. And KL Rahul, he went on to get about 66 of 106.
Yes, I'm aware.
And he played quite well. He helped hold that innings together. And then once he was dismissed, that's when the pitch really started to slow up. And the Australians bowled very well. They rotated their bowlers regularly. They bowled a lot of slower balls into the pitch.
I'm
So
aware.
it gave so little to the batsmen as they were trying to play their shots.
Yes.
And then we saw Surya Kumar Yadav was really struggling to get the ball long distances. In India, sort of just perpetually lost wickets at intervals. Jadeja never really got going. And then eventually, I think it was on the last ball of the innings, they were all dismissed for 240.
Right.
I reckon it
That was
was.
about 100 runs short, I think. I think 340. Australia, the way they batted, Australia would have got 340 on that night.
Well, that's the thing. The night sky, the day is replaced by the night. The night comes, and then that's when Australia sort of really get things into gear.
Yes, they did.
Uh,
Okay.
So it
Was that
started.
the end, or do we?
It was actually a good start for India, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In the first 10 overs, India took 3 wickets, remember. They
I
got
do.
David Warner out cheaply. That was Bumrah. Then Shami comes in, gets Mitchell Marsh out. The ball's moving around, the ball's swinging around.
Yeah.
Then Steve Smith gets out LBW. He doesn't refer it, but it turns out he was out. Sorry, he was not
was
out.
not
He
out,
should have
yeah.
reverted it.
Yes.
But it looked pretty good live. So then he goes out. So then all of a sudden, Travis Head and Manas Labuschagne are there. The crowd is just roaring. The crowd is going. They're about 3 down of
I've
10
got a little
overs.
bit to say about the crowd. I'll
Okay.
say it at the end.
We'll talk about the crowd. And so the Australia are in a bit of panic here. But I just love the way Travis Head batted. He played the right shots at the right moments, put the big shots away, but he also played a lot of good singles in the way. Don't forget how Labuschagne played either.
I'm a bit like the Indian crowd, quite silent at the moment.
His strike rate was only about 50, but he was just doing the right thing because the score wasn't very high to get. So he just had to bat with a bit of patience, a bit of calm. And so they put together that magnificent partnership of about 180 odd. And that sealed it off. Glenn
Game-
Maxwell comes in, scores a couple of runs. Australia win their
Game
6th World
over.
Cup.
Game
And
over.
I would have to say it's probably the best World Cup they've ever won, given the
Okay,
circumstances.
fantastic.
Maybe Borders 87.
Yeah, Borders 87.
Borders
in
87
Calcutta,
champions
when
in
they're beating
Calcutta,
them.
yeah. But this one against the host team in their backyard, with their conditions, with their prime minister, with their
Right.
stadium.
Two things
Incredible.
that I want to say, and I want to say them fairly quickly because this is getting quite laborious for me. Um, the the crowd need to get a little bit of a reality check.
Hmm.
You've got to be sporting, and you've got to admit that the other team is good on the day, on the night, day night. Booing the winners, and not acknowledging their achievement, I thought was very poor performance by the Ahmedabad crowd. And just one final note. There is a Hindi word called panoti, Anmol, and you can check it out with your mum and see what exactly it means. There was a panoti on that night. Narendra Modi Stadium, Narendra Modi present. I don't think much of superstitions, but I don't know if the Prime Minister did any favors to India by being there and naming a stadium after himself. More of a political stunt than a cricketing ploy. I've never seen a stadium named after a politician anywhere in the world, and that to a living politician. So, on that note, your summary has been excellent. I did not enjoy reliving it, but I had no choice. So, thank you very much. And yeah, well done to Australia.
So you think the crowd could have been a bit better in the way they
Well,
handled themselves? There was, I think, a sense of shock, though. I think
yeah, there was a bit
sense
of
of
shock.
like, what do we
but
do
at the
here?
same time, Australia beat India fair and square and beat them comprehensively. There is no doubt about that, and there is no harm in admitting that. Australia, with a better team on the day, on the night, played very well, outplayed India in every department, fielding, bowling, batting, and in the captaincy. So, yeah, well done, Australia.
Well done, Australia, yeah.
Thank you. Anmol.
Absolutely. So if we go through, just quickly, if we go through Australia's World Cup
Sure.
victories,
Uh-huh.
they've now had 6. So
Oh,
you have
Okay.
the Borders one, which was the standout because that's the first, that's the inaugural,
Yeah,
87.
that was in Calcutta.
Then you have Steve Waugh's team of 99.
Right.
So that was the one with Vaughan and McGrath,
Yes.
and that's when sort of
They had
those
a very,
legends
very
started
good
to come out. And I think Vaughan took about 9 wickets in the last 2 matches.
Yes.
It was very hard to beat. And then you had sort of Ponting's Invincibles of 03 or 7. They didn't lose a single game.
You're enjoying this,
in
aren't
either
you?
one of those. I'm
Reliving-
just
reliving
just-
these 6 victories.
It's so important to relitigate.
Okay.
So then you had those Ponting's Invincibles of 03 or 7.
Yeah.
Then you had the Michael Clark Home World Cup of 2015. We were at the final.
Yes.
That one against New Zealand.
Against New Zealand. Yeah.
When Steve Smith hit the winning runs. And now, 8 years later, 2 World Cups later,
Yeah.
Australia again, this time under Pat Cummins. What do you think about Pat Cummins' captaincy now? What do you have to say
He was
about Pat
brilliant on the
Cummins?
night. Brilliant on the night. Absolutely.
Great decision to bowl
Great
first.
decision to bowl first. Absolutely.
He's really going to cop it. If they had lost, he could have been sad.
Yeah, no, but it was a brave decision to make, and you've had the opportunity to relive the 6 wins. I think you've told me.
6 World Cup
repeatedly.
wins, yeah.
6 World Cup wins.
Although there is a documentary on Netflix about India's win in 1983, if you're
Okay,
interested.
when Kapil Dev
That's a couple of Dave's men,
led
yeah.
India to win
Yeah, 19
against the West Indies.
In England, was it?
Yes, it was at Lord's,
Yeah,
and
Lord's.
Mahendra Ramanatha was the man of the match, both
Oh,
in the
wow.
semi-final and the final.
Did he score hundreds?
No, he did a very good all-round performance, bowling
Hmm.
and batting, and he's the unknown factor there. They talked about Kapil Dev, they've talked about all the
Yeah.
other team members.
Well, hopefully in this documentary they'll mention
Mahendra
Amarnath. I'd
Ramanatha was
be happy
the,
to show it to you.
Was
haven't
the,
seen it,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it
yeah.
looks
He
really good.
was the man of the match both in the semi-final and also in the final.
And then 2011, you had that was Tendulkar's swan song.
Correct.
That's when Dhoni's men, they hit the 6 of Kulasekara to beat Sri Lanka.
Beautiful. That's
That
a
was in
nice. That's a
Mumbai.
nice memory.
Yeah, that was a good memory too.
Yeah.
Uh,
1983, I remember very well when Kapil Dev.
You were in Mumbai at the time.
I
Bombay.
was in Bombay. Yes.
You would have watched it. You watched the final?
I watched
Sure.
it on TV. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think I watched it live. I might have been working, but I do remember.
It was big in India, like
It was
people in India, were they
absolutely-
celebrating? Yeah.
Yeah, huge.
There was parades and stuff.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Kapil Dev became an immortal.
Wow. Well, the next World Cup's 2027 in South Africa. So we
Yes.
look forward to
South
that.
Africa was the biggest disappointment for me in this World Cup.
You reckon?
I reckon. Yeah.
You'd be disappointed they didn't make the final.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're just they just choke in the big tournaments.
By the way, just a quick update. New Zealand versus Bangladesh. Bangladesh won the first Test match against New Zealand.
Yes, I saw that.
And the second Test, Bangladesh were all out for 1 80 in the first innings. New Zealand were about 55 for 5.
Okay. And just with
Second
that, the
test.
preview, we've got the Pakistan Test match starting next week.
So we'll do
in
some
Perth.
podcasts there.
We'll do some podcasts for
3
that
test
one.
matches against Pakistan,
And
Australia,
then
starting
three
on the
against,
14th in Perth.
the West Indies.
2 against the
will-
West, 2 against the West
if
Indies.
the weather holds, Australia will win all 6.
5.
Oh, sorry, all 5.
But then after that, there's 2 test matches against New Zealand in New Zealand after the West Indies one. So that's 7.
That'll be a bit more competitive.
We've got India versus England in January, 5 test matches.
In
That'll
India?
be very good. In India, yes.
Okay.
That'll be very good. That'll be a great series.
Yeah.
You've got South Africa versus India this year. First test starting very soon in South Africa.
Oh, okay, they're playing in South
So
Africa
that'll be very good as
Yeah.
well. And you've also got the Big Bash, which starts today.
today. Okay. Thank you very much for your time, Anmol.
Alright, lovely.
Interesting and nice preview.
A lot of great cricket coming up, isn't
and
it?
a lot of great cricket coming up, and I can see the delight in your face during the course of this podcast. I must say that I don't share that delight.
Well done, Aussie.